So, if I'm already bitter about some issues in my personal life, any particular issue, then I am much more liable to be outraged about some remote development, the sky, whatever, such as a political controversy or a questionable ruling by an official at a sporting event. Did you see that? I can't believe that. It's an outrage, right? I'm already bitter. I have all this pent-up tension, and then I release it through, oh my God, did you hear what that politician's proposing? Did you hear what that one said about what the other one said? And it gets all into this controversy and can be hysteria. So different people will relate to the same event or same process, same news item, same cloudy sky, differently. Not because of the event itself, but because of their different patterns of relating, their different momentum of how they relate to life. The clouds are in the sky, and boom, the way that they relate to life is there because we each bring the way that we relate to life with us wherever we go, all this momentum. We could call it karma, this momentum of how we relate to life. So we go around, and then there's a sporting event, or there's a political debate, or whatever, and we have our ways of interpreting it and relating to it, and we complain about it, or we celebrate it, or we ignore it, or we are just kind of mildly curious about it. So, imagine 3 people who are all watching a cat chase a squirrel. There's 1 cat and 1 squirrel and 3 people. One of the people gleefully cheers for the cat without animosity for the squirrel. They're just like excited about the thrill of the chase. So one of the 3 people simply watches without any particular interest. They're attentive to what's going on, but they're not like, really excited and having an adrenaline rush or anything. They're just watching without any particular interest, without any partisan interest, without any partiality. Unlike how a lot of people watch a political debate. They already know what their position and what their favorite, they've already made all their presumptions, and so they bring their presumptions with them to relate to whatever they witness. So that's how 3 different people watching a political debate will have different comments about it. But back to the cat chasing a squirrel. There's first the person who's cheering the cat. Second, there's that person who is kind of just neutrally observing things attentively. And the last person is outraged that the cat is willing to be so selfish and violent. It's immoral by taking advantage of the squirrel's small size for the personal economic gain of the cat. The last one is outraged. Then later, that last one, that anti-cat observer, that protester, may also state their new anti-squirrel criticism, because their way of relating to the cat as criticizing the cat, they then bring and relate to the squirrel and criticize the squirrel, and they probably are going to criticize themselves later, and then they're going to criticize the government, or they're going to criticize some political party. And what do they say about the squirrel? They say, well, that squirrel probably deserved it because that squirrel is a thief for taking seeds from out of the clearly marked bird feeder. Karma is a bitch, isn't it, Mr. Squirrel? And so the person who has that mode of relating of criticism starts by criticizing the cat, moves on to criticize the squirrel, and moves on from there to criticize whatever else, because it's a pattern or a momentum, a way of relating, and that rage or that bitterness, that desperation and frustration that can be revealed in someone's comments about cats chasing a squirrel, that all points back to jealousy. Those are all symptoms of jealousy. I'll say more about that later. There's only 1 cat, though, chasing only 1 squirrel. However, there were a wide variety of stories and interpretations about that one chase. There was only 1 chase, but there's all these stories, all these different ways of relating to the chase itself. So why do the different people have such different experiences and commentaries and interpretations and emotions arise about the cat chasing the squirrel? Their way of relating to the chase reveals their latent emotions, such as latent aggression in the case of the guy who's cheering on the cat. Get it! Get the squirrel! Yeah! Or latent guilt about, that cat is being selfish and being taking advantage of the squirrel. That's a conversation about guilt and blame. So one who is speaking about the guilt of others, blaming them or shaming them, if that's being done passionately and sincerely, that person doing that may have some suppressed guilt, which they have the opportunity to release as they comment on whatever, on the chase, on the cat chasing the squirrel. So, oh my God, that cat is so bad and so selfish for chasing that squirrel like that. Or that squirrel deserves it because that squirrel selfishly stole some seeds from the clearly marked bird feeder that I wanted to feed the birds because I want the birds to be happy and then I'll be happy. So it can be pretty complex. It can be pretty funny within the complexity. So there can be some suppressed energy. There could be some suppressed emotion that comes out in someone's commentary about the cat chasing the squirrel. So while there may be a temporary exhaustion afterwards, after passionately ranting about how unfair it is for a tyrannical, smelly cat to chase after innocent, cute little squirrely squirrels, well, the energy of that rant was already within the ranter. The rant is actually a release of pressure. Pre-existing pressure is released. A release of energy or pressure. And that release can be favorable in the maturing of the one who has been ranting or protesting or whining or seething. So it's like having a balloon that's just about to explode. Totally explode. But then letting out a little bit of the pressure. The pressure was already there. So when it gets released, it may not completely release the pressure in the balloon, but at least it's less close to busting open and exploding. The release of pressure through the hysterical rant or tantrum was not the source of the pressure. It's a symptom or indicator of pre-existing pressure and a release of pressure. So after the excitement of jealousy or cheering on this cat that chases the squirrel, after all the excitement, the person may calm down and feel much more relaxed than they did before the rant or the cheering. They may not have even realized that they were so stressed or tense until the releasing of the physical tension, until the outburst. Again, rage is not only blinding, but rage is blindness already.